I'll call to order the Finance Committee meeting of June 24th, 2024, and ask Dave to please call the roll.
Council President Figueroa Cole.
Here.
Alder Madison.
Here.
Alder Evers.
Here.
Alder Rummel.
Present.
Mary of Quorum.
Thank you. All right, we have no one wishing to speak in general public comment. Are there any disclosures or recusals from members of the body on today's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Just a gentle reminder, mostly for staff, you do not have to register as available to answer questions via the public system. You can just get the link for the meeting and come in as staff and be here in case your item is pulled. Similarly, alders don't have to register for public comment. All right, on to the consent agenda. We have separation on the presentation, which is item 21. Are there other items that alders would like to have separated from the consent agenda? Alder Rummel.
Can we get an update on item number 18, the shelter?
On 18. Thank you, Alder. Are there other items that folks would like separated from the consent agenda? Besides 18 and 21. Seeing none, then President Figueroa Cole, a motion.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda with the exclusions of items 18 and 21. Oh, I'm sorry. Alder Latimer Burris, did you want to request separation on 17?
Yes, Mayor. I did. I just didn't know what the number was. That's why I had my phone raised. And I did want to do a point of order or information. The reason I register is there was one meeting where I was told I couldn't talk because I had not registered. So we may want to review that with everybody in the city. This is on a different issue, but that way I ensure that, I can be heard.
Yeah, alders are ex officio members of every city committee.
Okay, we may want to share that with everybody because they were not clear on that. It was another alder, actually. Thank you.
So we'll separate item 17 as well. Then 17, 18, and 21. On the balance of the agenda, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any objection to recording a unanimous vote in favor? Seeing no objection, we'll record a unanimous vote in favor of those items, and staff that were here for those items are released. And then, so that will take us to item 17. Item 17 is Legistar 83518, requesting information studies and plans regarding the authorization of a local sales tax. On item 17, President Figueroa Cole.
Move to adopt.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alder. Moved and seconded to adopt item 17. Are there questions for staff on item 17? Seeing none, then is there discussion? Alder Latimer Burris?
Yes, I don't have anything for discussion unless people had more questions. I think that all the members that are going to be voting are on city council. They heard why I was proposing this. It's nothing political. It's just to try to make sure that we are doing everything we can. And I know that sometimes it's not right now thing. It's a future thing that we're looking into. Although, in some of the other committees that I've attended, there seems to be a perception put out that we are already lobbying. We've already asked for this information. We're looking into it. So, if we're going to vote it down, I think that we should at least be able to say that we tried and we're not interested in having it, looking into the potential, and the key word is potential, for sales tax. It is not a legal item that can be done right now, but we surely can get started or continue on our path. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder. Is there further discussion? Seeing none. It's been moved and seconded. Is there objection to recording unanimous vote in favor? President Figueroa Cole? You're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mayor, I am a little bit slow today. So I just wanted to just make a quick comment. I have listened to the other committee meetings that have discussed this topic. And like Alder Burris had said, I don't characterize the discussions there as that they might be working on it. I think it has to be has been made very clear that the asks on these items are already in progress. So it has been clear to me that this is a duplication of efforts, and just wanted to point that out. If you haven't watched the meetings and gotten the perspective from other committees, I encourage everyone to go on and check out those committees.
Thank you, Alder. Is there further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, then Alder Evers?
Yeah, Mayor, if you could clarify, are we voting to place this on file, or are we voting to recommend that council adopt this?
No, the motion was to adopt.
Okay.
Thank you, Alder. Is there further discussion on item 17? Alder Evers?
Thank you, Mayor. For the reasons that were hinted at by President Figueroa Cole, I won't be supporting this. I do think it's redundant. I think it's quite clear that efforts to request a sales tax have been put forth, will be put forth. It's we actually did this once before on this current council. So for that reason, it feels like somewhat of an unnecessary exercise. So I won't be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder. Alder Madison?
Thank you, Mayor. I also won't be supporting it just based on sitting in on this item at previous committees. So just that quick note.
Thank you, Alder. Alder Latimer Burris?
Yeah, since I'm the author of the sales tax 2.0, I would call it, there is some differences. I think it's a matter of, where you stand on what we should do as a city to solve our long-term and short-term issues. I'm not going to go all into it because I'm not in front of the resolution. I have been reading a lot about finance, asking a lot of questions. I've taken up my last 6 months solely dedicated to this, and we're going to have to look for different solutions. So all you can do is ask sometimes. You can't lead a horse to water and make them drink. So that's my comment there. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder. Is there further discussion on item 17? Seeing none. Then anticipating disagreement, the motion is to adopt. All those in favor, aye. Those opposed, no, as your name is called. And Dave will please call the roll.
Council President Figueroa Cole,
No?
Alder Madison,
No.
Alder Evers,
No.
Alder Rummel.
Yes.
Mayor, that's one aye and 3 noes.
With one aye, item 17 will fail. And then we'll move on to item 18, which is Legistar 83678, awarding a Public Works contract for the Bartillon Shelter and amending the 2024 capital and operating budgets of the Community Development Division to provide funding needed to complete the project. On item 18, President Figueroa Cole, a motion, please.
Move to adopt.
Second,
There, moved and seconded to adopt item 18. Alder Rummel, you had questions?
yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to get an update. You know that we've had intermittent luck and unluck with these bids and just wanting to know. I get the fact that we're finding a way to rearrange the money, but just for the public that might be listening, just a summary and what happens next if this passes at the council.
Thank you. Alder, we'll start, I think, with Brian Cooper then.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Finance Committee. Brian Cooper, I work in city facilities, City of Madison facilities. I guess in terms of this current bid, the estimate was, the low bid came in about 1.9 million over the estimate. There wasn't really any one specific item I can really point to suggest that there was just one thing that was could be changed in the documents. It was sort of across the board, and higher at each sort of category of building construction. And then in terms of we got good coverage, which is I think a positive. We got I think 4 bids on the project, which is a good trend because during the pandemic we had very little bidding on quantity of bidders on projects. So that's a good trend to see. As far as what happens next, if this gets approved by the Finance Committee, Board of Public Works, and Common Council, we would intend to execute the contract as soon as possible and send a start work letter by July 15th, roughly, or at the latest, and then we would commence work immediately on construction. The current contract indicates that the project should be completed by October 31 of 2025 in terms of the construction component. One of the biggest lead time issues we've had on projects recently is electrical components. They've really caused a lot of issues on a lot of projects. Engineering has proactively purchased the electrical gear, so we should a delay to the construction project related to gear. And so after October of 31st of 2025, there will be some amount of work that needs to be done to complete the furnishings, fixtures, and equipment installation. So we don't have the exact timeline on, but it's a little bit more than a typical project given some of the components that would go in there, like bedding and that type of thing. And then, of course, there would be an operational move from everything that Porchlight, the operator, is doing at 2002 Zire Road over to this property, completed project at 1902 Bartolon Drive.
Alder Rummel?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Brian, for the update. And maybe this isn't really a fair question to ask you, but it seems like that Porchlight is experiencing more guests than there is capacity. And I'm wondering if there is any ability in this proposal to grow at some future point if needed.
As far as this current site and the building, the design is for approximately 250 guests. That includes, of course, but 250 guests. The building is not designed to be adding additional or expanding on the site. The site is, as designed, is pretty maxed out in both with the build print, sort of the drive access to get vehicles on and off the site, stormwater and then a very nominal amount of on-site parking and delivery sort of loading, unloading area. So it doesn't really offer up a lot in terms of expansion on the existing, on the Barlawn site.
Thank you.
Yeah, although I think it's also information that I've received from staff in the past has been that 250 is really the maximum number you want to build a shelter for in one site. So that it would not be a recommended best practice to exceed that capacity on any one site. Other Madison questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, is Jim O'Keefe available by chance?
He is.
Hi, Jim. I just wanted just an explanation more so on the transferring of funds, specifically the $2 million in federal emergency rental assistance program funding. Was that potentially going to go to emergency rental assistance, or was, just where that was at? That's only my nervous part, because with our housing crisis, with homelessness expected to grow, seeing that kind of gave me some pause. So I want to understand that part.
Yeah, hello, Alder. So we have about we have funds that were left over from the federal ERA grant, including some funds that were turned back from the operation of the Dane Core program. One of the things that happened with the ERA program over its lifetime was that the federal government relaxed, expanded, provided additional flexibility regarding the use of those funds. And one of the things that they made those funds eligible for later in the program's life, maybe unfortunately too late in the program's life, was the ability to use those funds to support the development of affordable housing. So we have keyed on that. And we also have utilized the funds, we think, to their maximum extent to continue to provide assistance for renters. We've done that primarily through the rental defense and diversion program that you might recall we recently added about $15 million to that effort to carry it through September of 2025, which is the point in time by which ERA funds have to be used. So we have access to some of that ERA money that remains. It isn't committed at this point to any specific use or activity. We have been looking for opportunities to put it to use in a way that its benefit would be more enduring, namely to support the development of new housing. And so that's what we're doing here. We are moving $2 million of ERA funding, not to the shelter project itself, but to the youth-focused housing development that is slated to be built at 1202 South Park Street. And we are taking advantage of that ERA money to displace $2 million of ARPA funds that were previously allocated to that Park Street project. And it's the ARPA funds that we're sliding over, much more flexible resource. We're sliding over to fill the budget gap for the shelter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alder. President Figueroa Cole, questions?
Jim or Brian, can you please remind me what was the total amount of the bed? How much money is it that we need at the end of the day?
The total, excuse me, Alder, the total amount of the bid I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. So the lowest bidder for just the base bid of construction is 21,049,000. There's an alternate that will also come out of the Bartolon shelter budget, which is an additional $31,252, and that's to build a multimodal path adjacent to the facility that will connect Kinsman Boulevard to Bartolon. So the total bid between the total bid for the base amount is $22,766,672. But the issue is you have to also add 8% of in contingency for anything that might come up during construction, like unforeseen conditions or issues like that. So that adds about another $1.9 million to the project.
So what is the full total with the 8% contingency?
Okay.
I mean, I have some numbers in front of me, but I want to make sure that my numbers are correct. I think I made a little glitch here.
Okay, so for the full total, excuse me, comes to, hold on a second. I'm sorry, a full total comes to 22,766,672.
Okay.
And that's about 2/3 of the way down in the resolution.
Thank you. So, I mean, I don't think this is on the resolution. I'm kind of going back to an article in the newspaper the other day that kind of implied that gave us the dollar amount of the budget of the shelter. I just want to throw it there out there on the record that since 2021, we have contributed altogether $8 million of the levy for this project, not the full amount. That most of the money is coming from the county federal funds and other grants that the city had diligently acquired, including ARPA funding. I just wanted to make that statement that this is not all coming from the city levy. And if I'm incorrect, please say so, but I don't think so. Thank you.
That's correct, Alder. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are other questions on item 18? If not, then 18 has been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, it's been moved and seconded. Is there objection to recording unanimous vote in favor of item 18? Seeing no objection, we'll record a unanimous vote in favor of item 18. And that will take us to item 21. Dave?
Thank you, Mayor. I will share my screen for just a few slides. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Great. So just an update on some of the timelines with the budget. Just again, a reminder of the council values and priorities, as well as their guidance. And one of their guidance items is to develop referendum language to increase the property tax for some or all of the deficit. You do have some information regarding the state law requirements for that, adopting a resolution with referendum language in it. So for November elections held in November, where a levy limit referendum is to be considered, actual data from DOR needs to be used. That data will be available on August 15th. We are able to use estimated data for debt service and other data that's not yet final from DOR. So primarily we're using net new construction and personal property aid data that will be available on August 15th. Also under state law, the resolution with the ballot language in it has to be adopted no later than 70 days before the election date. So we have a November 5th election date, 70 days prior is August 26th. So effectively there's a 10-day window for the council to consider and possibly adopt a resolution with a ballot language for referendum on it. So the detailed calendar now, today, updating you on these timelines. We expect by the council meeting in mid-July that there would be a resolution, at least by title only, on the referendum, and then a full plan presented to the council regarding how to proceed. That plan then would be considered or discussed at the Finance Committee meeting on July 22nd. You did have sort of a final meeting before that August 26th deadline of August 6th, but you've since added a special meeting on the 20th to consider the resolution and meet these state law timelines. So that's all I have. Just wanted to update the committee on where things stand with some of these timelines and state law requirements.
Thank you, Dave. Questions for Dave? Seeing none. That is our agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move adjournment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Is there any objection to recording unanimous vote in favor of adjournment? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
Good night.